in this review, get ready for a rocket ride because we are going to be taking a look at one of the Thomas & Friends 2014 items, the Motion Control Thomas. This toy is from Fisher-Price's My First Thomas & Friends series and is designed for ages 2 and older. And it's got 3 different motions that you can control the action with. I got this little engine a few weeks ago from a Walmart store cheap because it was marked clearance. It was $41.97, but then it was brought down to $25. And that's why I got this cheap. So here's the Motion Control Thomas out of its packaging, and we will take a look at the main features that this engine has got. By looking at the front of it, between Thomas's face, you can see that it's got see-through plastic squares on each side of Thomas's wheel arches. That's because it's got LEDs inside of it. So that way, the engine can see where it's going. And you know one thing that I like about this model of Thomas? It's got something that most of the Fisher-Price Thomas models are missing, and that is the buffers are painted on with black paint. Another thing is that the Motion Control Thomas is in the same length to the RC Steam and Speed Thomas that is sitting right next to it, and which I had reviewed a few years back. And believe me, they both look like they're in the same shape and sizes, except they got different details on them. And that's a reason by looking at the cab on these two Thomas models, you can easily see what I'm talking about here. The Motion Control Thomas has a bit more detailing than what the RC Steam and Speed Thomas has. For the batteries, this Thomas engine takes 4 AA's to be powered. By looking at the railroad crossing sign that comes with the engine, the 3D detailing on this thing looked very excellent indeed. Underneath Thomas, there's the on and off switch, and there's also a middle wheel that can make Thomas turn while Thomas is going backwards. Once Thomas is turned on by making his whistle sound, it's time to start having fun. Simply by pressing down on the dome.
Let's go! I'm ready for your signal.
Yes, and one thing that I forgot to tell you about this Thomas is that it can also talk once it's turned on.
Raise your hand over my roof to drive forwards or backwards.
You use your hand or the railroad crossing sign to flag Thomas where you want him to go. When you wave Thomas over his roof, he moves forward or backwards. When you put the railroad crossing sign in front of Thomas, Thomas stops or backs up.
Let's go!
Also, there are times that Thomas might go to the direction that you don't want him to go, but sometimes it corrects itself, so you have to make sure you're doing it very carefully.
Here we go!
And like I said before, you can use your hand as well. Not only that, but this model has some other
Ready for your
features.
signal.
And when you pick up Thomas, he can make his steam sound once his wheels are off the ground. And also, when you push down on the dome, it plays its own version of
I
Simon
need to get to
Says.
Tidman's shed. Thomas says
when Thomas says, he'll tell you where he wants to go by having you flag him.
Forward. Well done. Let's chuck forward. I didn't say Thomas says. Thomas says, let's
And remember,
back up.
just like the regular game of Simon Says, Thomas will trick you when he doesn't say Thomas says. So just like the real game, you gotta listen very carefully.
Good job. Thomas says, let's back up. Thomas says, let's chuck forward. Let's chuck forward. Oops, I didn't say Thomas says. Thomas says, let's back up.
Also, another option is that when you press down on the dome, Thomas will give you a challenge for a race.
Let's have a race. Wave your hand over my roof to help me get revved up.
You wave over Thomas's roof to get him started. And once that's enough, Thomas will take off.
Oops.
Well, that was fun. Let's see that again by having him go the opposite direction.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. One more time. Let's go.
Now let's see how far Thomas can go once he's revved up.
Here we go.
Well, I have to say that the motion control Thomas is such a brilliant toy, and that you can really control the action. When playtime is over, always remember to turn off the switch on Thomas. Also, I hope you like this review on the motion control Thomas. It's a Thomas & Friends item that I recommend to check out, and I'm sure it will impress any fan. That's all for now, so thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.